So we're going to start with just doing some more practice with what we did on Friday, or not Friday, Thursday. I am not feeling the greatest right now. I think it's just allergies, so don't worry. But so this video might be a little shorter, and I might not be as excited as I typically am. So how this is going to work is I'm going to do all the odds with you, and then for your attendance quiz today, you're going to turn in the answers to the evens. So if you have troubles uploading pictures to Canvas, or some people have even been sending me pictures through the Remind app, that's fine too. I just need a clear picture showing that you're actually doing these problems and working at home. So let's start with number 1. Hopefully you have your notes from Thursday out with all the properties of a parallelogram. So that's what I asked you guys to tell me on your attendance quiz last Friday, was what were those 5 properties. Number 1, opposite sides are parallel. So op, parallel. The second one, opposite sides are congruent. So op, congruent. Actually, I might do the congruency sign. The third rule was opposite angles are congruent. So I'm going to make an angle. Fourth rule, consecutive angles are supplementary. So they add up to 180. And then 5, the diagonals bisect each other. I'm just going to write diagonals. So looking at number 1, the directions are of each quadrilateral is a parallelogram. So we know that all of these 5 properties apply. Find the missing measures. So the first thing that I'm finding looks like the side lengths, because MN and KN are both sides. So MN should be congruent to KL because those are opposite sides. So MN is also 31. Then we have KN. KN is going to be congruent to LN, LM. And I just went over what LM was. So LM's 45. So that means KN is also 45. Alright, now we got to think about our angles. So if I erase all this stuff, maybe. There we go. So now I have angle N. That's the only angle I know really something about, but I know that angle L is opposite of angle N. So angle L is also going to be 119 degrees. That looks like 1,000. Okay, it's 119 degrees. So then angle K, if I think about angle K is going to be congruent to angle M, but I don't know what either of those are. But angle K and angle N are consecutive, so that means they're going to follow this rule, that consecutive angles equal 180. So I got to figure out what plus 119 is going to add up to 180. So if you take 180, if I can get all that stuff off, minus 119, you get 61. So that means angle K is 61 degrees. And since K and M are congruent, that means angle M is also 61 degrees. Okay, you're going to do number 2 for homework. So that should be the first problem I see on your paper. The one that you're submitting in Canvas. If I look at 3, 3, I'm actually going to try to label like I did in my Thursday video. And then I'll probably pause and then you guys will see the finished when it's all labeled. Alright, so I think I have as much as I can labeled. If I try to like color code it, so the green lines, those would be 24. Right here, Q, P, and RS, those would be 24. PS is 19, so here's PS. The opposite side from PS is QR. So yellow, yellow. Hopefully that makes sense. My angles are really hard to draw in when I'm using the iPad, so just hang in with me. If you're drawing this like on your own, you don't actually have this sheet, I would draw just a really big parallelogram and just make sure all your letters are right, and then you can probably draw in these angles a little bit better than I can. So if you haven't, pause, draw it, and you should be good. So if I look at the first one, QR, so QR, that's my yellow side, so yellow, yellow. PS is 19, that's straight from the directions. So since PS is 19, that means QR is also going to be 19. Then SR is highlighted in green, so that means it should be congruent with the PQ side. PQ is 24, so SR is also 24. PT is half of that blue diagonal. So since the diagonals are bisecting each other, this fifth property, that means I have to take half of 42. So half of 42 has to be 21. So PT is 21. SQ is the other diagonal. So like I only know half of this diagonal. Half of this diagonal is 10. So if I want to find the whole length of that diagonal, I have to take the length of TQ and multiply it by 2. So 10, 10, 10 times 2 gives me 20. Okay, so QR is 19, SR 24, PT is 21, and SQ is 20. So now we get into the angles. So the angles aren't quite as easy to see because the color coding is off. What I might do is I might erase all my angles, or not my angles, my sides, because they're probably not helpful anymore. I'm actually going to redo how I highlighted all this. So if I want angle PQR, that would be this whole side. Then, not the side, that whole angle. Then if I want angle QSR, it's down here. I'm actually going to make that. Then if I want angle PRS would be right this little part. So I think the easiest one to start off with is this highlight, the yellow highlighter one, because that's like the one full angle in the parallelogram. So the angle opposite that highlighted yellow would be this angle. So angle PSR. So PSR is not on here, so we don't even have to find that one. Cool. But then if I want to see, let's see what they want us to find. QRS. Okay, so they want us to find for QRS, that would be this guy. So if I know that PQR is 106, PQR and this angle right here, angle R, those have to add up to 180. So I'm going to take 180. Oh my goodness. Minus 106. and I get 74 degrees. Then if I want to find angle PQS, so PQS, ooh, that would be just this guy. I'm going to erase some of this, sorry. Angle PQS is just this part. Okay, now I know angle QSR down here is 49 degrees. So if you see, these are those alternate interior angles. And alternate interior angles are always going to be congruent. So that makes PQS, this red angle, that makes that also 49 degrees. Okay, next one we have angle RPS. RPS. Okay. So we know that angle PRS, this angle down here, is 35. So let me just write that in. And then we want to find RPS. We want to find this one. So we don't know if these two are congruent, okay? Diagonals they're not angle bisectors, they're just bisecting the segment. So we don't know that this angle and this angle are necessarily congruent. We do know that QRS as a whole is 74 degrees. Okay? So that means if I take 74 and I subtract 35, I could figure out what this side of that angle is. Then I now have alternate interior angles with this blue angle and this yellow angle. The blue angle is what I'm trying to find. That's angle RPS. So you really got to work backwards with these. So I'm going to take 74 minus 49, and I get 39 degrees. And the last angle that I'm trying to find is angle PSQ. So angle PSQ. Okay, so this is like the other one. And I'm going to actually leave this red and green angles that we know. So the red and green angles, those are those alternate interior angles again. The PQS, that's 49 degrees. So that means this one is also 49 degrees. Now, one of these angles that we're told at the very top, this one or this one, I'm pretty sure is going to be helpful for all of these. So I think, yeah, PQR. So PQR, this whole thing is 106. So if I take 106 and I subtract 49, that's going to tell me what this side is. Okay? So I'm going to take 106 minus 49, and you should get 57. So that means this angle right here is 57 degrees, and this angle right here, because both of these have to add up to the same thing because they're opposite angles in that parallelogram. And also these are like those alternate interior angles again. 49, 49, 70, 57, 57. So let me record that, 57. Okay, the rest of these, 3 is probably the hardest because 3 is like, whoa, you're taking everything and there's diagonals going on. So don't get too caught up if you're not completely understanding 3 at this point. Hopefully we'll have some more practice and get a little bit better at using all of these properties. So you're going to do 4 as well. So you'll do 4. I'm going to do 5. Let me erase some of this stuff. So in 5, I have if AC, so AC is a diagonal. If AC equals 8x minus 14, and EC equals 2x plus 11, solve for x. So EC is just half of that diagonal. So if I took EC times 2, I could get that whole length of AC because EC has to be congruent to AE because the diagonals bisect each other. Use black. So I'm going to take 2x plus 11, multiply it by 2, and set that equal to 8x minus 14. So if I distribute my 2, I get 4x plus 22 equals 8x minus 14. Combine like terms, and you should get 4x equals 36. Then if you divide by 4, sorry, I got sidetracked. If you divide by 4, x equals 9. Alright, so then in number 7, it says find the value of angle V. I accidentally covered up angle V. So I'm only told something about angle Y and angle W, but angle Y and angle W, they're opposite of each other, so that means they have to be congruent. So I'm going to take angle Y and set it equal to angle W. So 10x minus 27 equals 2x plus 29. Add 27, subtract 2x, I get 8x equals 56. Divide by 8, and x equals 7. But I'm not done yet, because I have to find angle V, but I only know something about angle Y and W, so I'm going to plug in x for angle W, and then what's going to happen is angle V and W are considered consecutive angles, so those consecutive angles have to add up to 180. So I'm actually going to start writing to the left here. So if I plug in 7 for angle W, I have 2 times 7 plus 29. So I get 14 plus 29. So angle W is 43 degrees. Now to find angle Z, or not Z, angle V, I'm going to take 180 and subtract that 43 degrees. And so I get angle V to be 137 degrees. So that's my true answer for number 7. Okay, I think I can scroll now. Oh no. There it is. And we're only going to do, so I uploaded the worksheet on Canvas. If you typically print them out, we're only going to go to number 9 because 10 through 12 are something that we're going to do either Tuesday or Wednesday. So don't worry about 10 through 12. Your last problem that you need to do is number 8. So if I do number 9 with you, it says if, which I'm actually going to zoom in because he's got some angles in here. if VST, so this whole angle is 5x plus 23, and the angle of VUT equals 8x minus 49. So already I should see that these two angles should be congruent, that I've highlighted, because they're opposite of each other within that parallelogram. So I'm going to have to use those two angles being congruent to figure out what x is probably. And then I'm going to find this angle SVT. SVT is right down here. Okay. Ooh, and they tell us that this angle is 20. So I don't know if those are congruent, so I made them different colors. But I'm going to start by having 5x plus 23 equals 8x minus 49. I'm going to add 49. I get 5x plus 72 equals 8x. Subtract 5x. 72 equals 3x. And so then I get x equals 24. So if I know x equals 24, I can then take that and plug it in for either s or u. It's going to be the same angle, so it doesn't really matter. So I'm going to take, for angle s, I'm going to have 5 times 24 plus 23. And so I get, for this, the measure of angle VST equals 143 degrees. Alright, now, so that was just using that the opposite angles in a parallelogram are congruent. Now we got to use consecutive angles in a parallelogram are supplementary. So consecutive angles, some examples would be S and V. Another example could be S and T. A third example could be T and U. If I keep going, you could have U and V. So I'm going to use just S and V, because I know S is this, but really I know S and U are both that 143 because they're congruent. So if I use the fact that S and V are supplementary, so I'm going to take 180 minus 143, and I get 37. Okay, so knowing that this entire angle V, has to equal 37, okay, I then know that this blue highlighted part of this entire angle, I'm trying to find SVT, so I'm trying to find this whole angle. If I know this part of the angle is 20 degrees, that means this green part of the angle would have to be something plus 20 to get that 37 that this whole angle is. If you're confused about where the 37 is, back up, because 37 is coming from the fact that we know what angle S is, and we know that S and V are supplementary angles, so S plus V has to equal 180. Now I'm just going to take 37 minus 20 to get that leftover green highlighted part of that angle that we're looking for. And so you get 17 degrees. Okay, so that's all I got today. Hopefully you are able to finish numbers 2, 4, 6, and 8. I want to see your work. I know some of the pictures that people uploaded, they were very grainy, so just try to do your best. I know there's an app called Scan Genius. It's free, but it takes a PDF scan of any notebook piece of paper, and that looks a lot better than if you're just using your phone. So that app, I'll write it down over here, Scan Genius. And what it does is you take a picture using your phone, and then it turns it into a PDF, and then you can either email that to me, or you can just upload it straight to Canvas. So yeah, let me know if you have any questions, if you're having troubles going through all the problems. I will leave the attendance quiz open until like 10 o'clock tomorrow, or not tomorrow, Monday. So you don't have to do it right at class time, but if you want me to ask or answer any of your questions, then you have to ask me before 2:25, because I'm really trying to turn my phone off and take some time out of school, just like you guys might be doing. So yeah, good luck. Let me know if you have any questions. Bye, guys.